I've got a pretty large property and don't mind the neighbor's cat hanging out chasing mice and other things, but it's constantly walking right up to me and brining me dead things when I'm outside. I don't feed the cat and barely pay any attention to it except when it rubs up against me and purrs. I'll give it a quick pat and move on to whatever I was doing, gardening, etc. Otherwise I basically ignore it. Anyways, the frequency of dead things plopped at my feet has gotten to almost every day. I don't want to be mean and scare it or anything. It's welcome to relax or prowl the yard, but it's a long walk from one end of the yard to my trash cans to dispose of the things it brings, and it's getting old really fast. Enjoy the yard versus its owner's yard for some reason. It's an older cat and I don't think it's right to spray it with a water bottle or try to scare it or be mean to it as some suggested here. That's just not an option for me. I called my vet to get their advice and he said to soak cotton balls 1-to-1 with food grade vinegar and water and lightly dab my wrists, neck, ankles, shoes, etc. The vet said the vinegar is totally safe for the cat, but cats don't like the vinegar and will associate the scent with me and in theory should stop approaching me and will likely give up trying to give me dead things. The vet said it might be a good idea to actually lure the cat to me with a simple treat to make sure it approaches me, smell me, dislike it and leave. So one quick stop at the market for the vinegar, cotton balls, cat treats and dabbing myself all over like my vet advised and I'm good to go. Voila! Problem solved, right? Nope. 1. My beloved dog wouldn't even come up to me the entire rest of the day. 2. My wife said I stunk and demanded I shower. I told her I still had a lot of chores outside in the yard and she said I can't step into the house until I showered. I told her I would shower after my chores. 3. The cat showed up as usual and brought me another dead thing, partial grasshopper this time, and I did what the vet said and gave it the cat treat. It not only approached me and didn't flinch at all at my smell, but went crazy purring and rubbing up against me after I gave it the treat. Like purring so hard I could feel the reverberations when it rubbed against my pant leg. Unusually, the damn cat followed me around most of the day and kept interfering with what I was doing, pruning, sweeping, etc. running in front of me while I'm carrying things to the wheelbarrow, zipping between my legs, laying down right where I'm about to trim. I'd gently move him and the little bastard kept coming back. I'd make sure I'd hold out my wrists for it to smell and that did jack shit. Cat didn't even care or seem to notice the vinegar smell. 4. I did a lot of work in the yard but still had more to do, so I was going to go take a quick nap on the couch and then get back to the yard, but my wife wouldn't have any of it and kicked me out. She told me to go nap near the pool in the nice shaded area I had set up with lawn furniture and a hammock. Didn't want to argue with the boss, so I went to the hammock. Took a nice nap only to wake up to find the fucking cat sleeping on my chest purring, ass right in my face. I gently let it down on the ground so I could get back to my yard work, and right there under the hammock another dead thing the cat left for me. Covered in hundreds of ants. FML. I give up. Update 2. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who gave sincere, well-meaning advice here, as when I say I'm not a cat person, I really mean I'm not a cat person. I don't dislike cats, but I've always grown up with dogs, and other than bumping into the occasional cat in the periphery, I have almost no knowledge other than the basic guy off the street. There seemed to be some conflicting advice in the thread. Ignore the cat, pick up the cat constantly, feed that cat, don't feed the cat, instead of vinegar try citrus, no try peppermint instead of citrus, eat in front of the cat, etc. to answer a couple of questions from the thread. Maybe the cat belonged to the previous owner of the house and has hung around. Nope. I've owned the property for over 20 years. I had the former dilapidated house demolished and over the decades slowly added the main house, 2 small guest houses, the pool house, etc. The cat literally showed up on the day the new neighbor below the hill moved with their stuff. I simply connected the dots. Are there any poisonous plants in my landscaped yard? To my knowledge, no. I have a dog who I would take a bullet for, and when I hired the landscape architect and arborist, I made sure to request no thing would be planted that would harm my dog or any of the local wildlife, but at the same time I wanted to attract butterflies, hummingbirds, etc. for the same reason. Despite it being a really easy solution to my ginormous ant problem, I refused to use chemicals, pesticides in the yard. Trial and error. Advice from the thread that worked or didn't work. First of all, I wasn't going to make the same mistake again of putting on a scent that would upset my dog. The day I tried the vinegar, my dog tried to avoid me all day and would only begrudgingly come to me when I insisted and called him over. The only citrus I had around was some strong citrus soap smell from one of my wife's fancy soaps she has all over the house. Tried it around the cat, nothing. Didn't deter the cat at all. I didn't try peppermint because I don't like the smell of peppermint myself. Ignore the cat completely, eat in front of the cat, but under no circumstance do I feed the cat. Didn't work. The cat would just stare at me and bob its head back and forth intently watching whatever I was eating, then bob its eyes to my mouth and just watch me chew. Still brought me dead things. I was strong. Held my ground. I didn't feed the cat even though I'm pretty sure it was asking for a bite of whatever I was eating at the time. Love bomb the cat, constantly pick it up. Go over the top to pay attention to it. To the people who gave this piece of advice, if you were trying to help, then thank you. If you were trolling, then congratulations, you got me good. Not only did smothering the cat with affection and constantly picking it up not work, it backfired. Hard. The cat became obnoxiously clingy and would demand I pick it up and give scritches, constantly interrupting what I'm doing. Sometimes it won't stop meowing incessantly until I do a quick pickup and scritch. Put it back down only to have it do the same thing less than an hour later. Man, I'm busy, I don't have time for is. So. Up to this point basically nothing worked. After trying some of the thread's advice? Significantly worse. Cat still came around every day. Every day still brought me dead things. Followed me everywhere, but now every now and then I gotta pick it up to rub its tummy, give it a scritch to hit the reset button so it would stop meowing at me. It incessantly follows me. There was only one single day where I didn't see the cat, or so I thought. I left really early in the morning to go pick up things I needed from Home Depot, drop by my local nursery to pick up their good secret sauce compost, basically run a bunch of errands. Came back in the afternoon and went about my chores in the yard, and as the hours passed it hit me. No cat. Not a peep, nothing trying to trip me as I carry things with a wheelbarrow, no demands for a pickup, scritch and release. Nothing. I just shrugged my shoulders at my good fortune of finally working in peace. It was getting late and I was hungry, and since I told my wife I was running errands, I guess she assumed I would pick up something to eat out, and she didn't pack anything for me. Headed back to the house, and as I was opening the kitchen sliding door, they're sleeping in my wife's lap as she's petting it and watching TV as the goddamn cat. Oh hell now. My wife looked up and smiled at me, then quickly frowned and asked what's wrong? I said, what do you mean? She said, when you came in your jaw dropped and you mouthed, son of a bitch. Me, why would you let that cat in the house? Wife, why wouldn't I? Poor thing was outside rubbing up to the glass door and meowing bloody murder. It was obviously hungry and thirsty. Me, oh my god. You didn't feed the cat, did you? Wife, of course I did. You think I'm going to let a helpless animal go hungry or be thirsty at my door? I thought I was going to have an aneurysm. All I could think about was the movie Gremlins when you were firmly warned never to feed the thing past midnight or else you're fucked. Now my wife's done it. She's fed the damn cat. I'm fucked. Me, this is the little bastard that has been giving me headaches with the ants for weeks by bringing me dead things. Wife, what are you talking about? It just showed up today. Me, holy shit. I just realized all this time, I don't think I actually ever directly mentioned the cat to my wife. I have a few acres of land, and the land is nicely landscaped and partitioned with very tall trees as to break up the line of sight, as the landscape architect said. To give a sense of walking in a manicured forest and not knowing what is around the corners until you turn and see the different kinds of landscapes on the property. I've been working on the far end of the property, and that's where the cat shows up. She never saw the cat until today. Me, wait a minute. That day I came in with the vinegar smell and you wouldn't let me in the house. That's because I was trying to make the cat keep away from me. Exactly at this point the cat woke up and saw me. Hopped off my wife's lap and started purring loud like a motorboat and rubbing hard against my legs. Wife, that's why? Oh my god. Why didn't you ask Kevin for advice before trying something that stupid? Kevin is our vet. I've known him, his wife and kids for years. He comes over every now and then and we play video games in my man cave or to shoot pool while the wives are doing who knows what. Me, it was Kevin who told me to do the vinegar. My wife literally rolled her eyes. Wife, I can't believe you two are doctors. I'm a retired anesthesiologist. That was some dumb advice. Me, I know. It didn't work at all. So I went to an internet forum and asked for advice. My wife literally laughed in my face. Wife, you asked complete strangers on the internet for advice? And how did that work out for you? Me, not so good. Anyways, I'm going to take care of this right now and take the cat back to its owners. It belongs to the new family who moved in down the hill. I gently grabbed the little bastard who was all happy and smug, hopped in the truck and rang the neighbor's doorbell. The day after they moved in, my wife and I introduced ourselves and gave them a small gift card to Home Depot and some of my wife's really good homemade brownies. Other than that, I haven't talked to them. The wife answered the door and the husband was sitting at their table in the back and waved to me. I reintroduced myself while holding their cat and told them I'm brining it back as it's been coming over to my yard every day. I was about to follow another thread suggestion and ask them if they could please consider putting a bell and collar on their cat so it would have a hard time catching things and bringing their corpses to me when the wife said, "That's not our cat. We don't have a cat." All the air left my lungs. If I thought I was going to have an aneurysm before, now I'm sure I'm going to have a stroke as well. No. Fucking way. This isn't their cat. A million things was going through my head and number one on that list is I call bullshit. There is no fucking way. I live on a small cul-de-sac. I am the only house on top of the hill because I own the entire damn top. I've known all the few neighbors for years. This cat doesn't belong to any of them. This cat literally showed up on the day they were moved their stuff in. I was thinking, are these guys fucking evil douchebags who dumped their cat and trying to deny it? The words just plopped out of my mouth and I instantly felt like an idiot. Are you sure? Wife looked a little taken aback and said, "That's not our cat." She sounded sincere and her face looked convincing. The husband came to the door and said, "Is there something wrong?" I said, "I thought this was your cat and was brining it back to you. It showed up the day you guys moved in." The husband said, "That's not our cat. I've seen it walking around but I think it belongs to one of the neighbors." He also looked sincere. Are they just world-class bullshitters? There's no way this isn't their cat. What are the odds? Their little kid who looked like she was maybe 4 years old or so came to the door and smiled at me and the cat. Okay, here we go. Kids don't bullshit. They are brutally fucking honest, and if this is their cat, this kid is going to spill it right there and then. Nope. The kids all like, a kitty. This kid had no idea of this cat. This cat isn't theirs. I could only think, oh my god. Fuck. Fuck fuck fuck. I sheepishly apologized for the error and left with the little bastard. It was before 5, so I called Kevin, the vet, and told him I'm bringing the cat over to see if it has a chip. I dropped by his clinic. They scanned the cat. No chip. Kevin examined the cat and estimated it is around 7 or 8 years old. Said there is no way this is a feral street cat, as this cat is broken and way too used to being around people. What do you mean broken? Is something wrong? Kevin said, no, nothing like that. I mean this. He took the cat from me and cradled it on its back. It just stared at him calmly. He put it on the table on its back and gently grabbed both hind legs and pumped them up and down and went chugga 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 choo choo. The cat just looked back and blinked at him. See? Broken. I had no idea WTF he's talking about. Cats are wary of complete strangers. Even house cats that have been around people all their lives. Cats don't just let anyone walk up to them, pick them up. And they will never let a stranger just put them on their back, exposing their vulnerable abdomen, and let them reposition them like a G.I. Joe action figure with a kung fu grip like this one does. So what? So it's really just super friendly. Kevin, you're not getting it. I've never seen a cat as chill as this cat. No one has. They don't make cats like this. This cat literally gives zero fucks. Even to its own peril. Even the techs noticed it. They were just passing this cat around, putting it in all positions, holding it, petting it. This cat didn't give a fuck. This goes way beyond being just friendly. It's broken, man, but in a good way. Maybe it's just developmentally disabled? Kevin, nope. Not that I can tell. In fact, I think it's probably above average intelligence. What makes you say that? Kevin, it somehow wiggled its way into your life and got your dumb ass here, didn't it? But I don't like cats. Kevin, I know. It's played the long con on you. He was smiling his ass off like it was Christmas. Like I said, smart. But I don't want a cat. Don't you know anyone who will take it? Kevin, absolutely. The tech already offered. She's in love with it. And the other tech wants it too. But here's the thing. What? Kevin took the cat and plopped it in my arms. It looked up at me with those big dumb eyes and started purring really loud. He took the cat back. Purring stopped. Cat just looked at him. He put the cat back in my arms. It started purring again. Kevin, see? This cat has a major hard-on for you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but my 2 cents, it would be cruel to separate this cat from you. Look, if you really don't want the cat, I can have literally a bazillion ladies in 2 seconds here busting down this door for this cat. At least you told me you didn't feed it. I told him my wife already did and she really liked the cat. Kevin, oh man, you're fucked. So, I bring the cat back home. I told my wife everything. My wife has a grin ear to ear. Wife, okay good. She grabbed the cat and it just snuggled up to her. The little kiss ass. There's still time to go to PetSmart and get it some things. And while we're there you can get one of those cat flappy doors or the kitchen. I told her hell no. This cat has already given me major headaches with ants outside. I don't want it coming in the house. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, 100% no to the cat door. I crossed my arms, 1000% no. She narrowed her eyes at me. Anyways. We're at PetSmart and she's looking for outfits for the cat and I'm in the pet door section. The only consolation prize is she let me name the cat. I named it what she thought was Elby. I told her it sounds cute like Elmo and she went with it. It's actually is L.B. for little bastard. I giggle inside when I call its name. P.S. Elby has stopped bringing me dead things since being inside most of the time. Has already destroyed my Newton's cradle I've had for years in my office, stolen one of my Chewbacca slippers which I still haven't found, and I still often wake up after napping with him sleeping on my chest, ass right in my face. FML. I give up. Now on to second story. Girlfriend returned from her business trip acting catatonic, locked herself in her office for days, and refuses to tell me why. We have been together for a year and a half and our relationship has been good up to this point. She was out for 5 days for a business trip to a conference. Without disclosing much, we both work in the same field but not a lot of overlap. The conference would debut a project she had been working on. I did not go, because of my own work, but she went with her coworkers on the project and everyone seemed to have a great time. I picked her up from the airport 2 nights ago, and when I went in for a hug and kiss she didn't return it and just went to grab her luggage. The whole ride home, she was basically catatonic. She didn't want to talk much, and would either ignore me, give a delayed, short answer, or be very short with me. The only thing I could get when I asked what's wrong was I'm tired. When we got home, I reheated some food for her while she was in the shower. After the shower, she took her bowl but dropped it on the way to the table and immediately started crying. I tried to comfort her and give her mine, but she angrily said she wasn't hungry and was going to bed and went to our bedroom, where she ripped the blankets and her pillow off of the bed, brought them into her office to the bed she uses for naps and closed the door. She hasn't really left her office since. We are now on day 2, but I do see she is coming out of her office for food. I've sent texts asking to talk but she hasn't responded. The door is locked, but if I knock she will say she's okay but napping. She won't talk to me and I don't really know what's wrong. Obviously, something major happened. I checked social media but everyone was smiles online. I spoke to my friend who went with her, he worked with her on the project, and asked how it all went that first night. He felt the trip went well and everyone had a good time. I inquired more about GF after, and he did tell me there was a part of the trip about halfway through where she started crying over lunch, but he didn't have any other details. I don't really think she is cheating, but I also don't know what could cause this. Any help? We cannot guess at this. You are going to have to talk with her. She may be sick, she may be pregnant, she may have been assaulted, she may have cheated, she may have learned something about you while she was gone that has made her very angry. There are more things that might have happened but those are my top 5. Update 1. I've been pretty slammed with work, and the demands for updates in the comments and inbox have also been overwhelming. With so many people assuming an assault and asking for details, it felt voyeuristic, where people wanted a window into my GF suffering. That disturbed both of us. Ultimately, I decided to update because there was no cheating or assault at all, despite almost everyone thinking it was definitely one of the 2 cases. I'll give my GF the name Lily, our friend who was on the trip Jake, and her close friend and roommate on the trip Jane, for ease. I called Jane, despite people saying no, and asked about the trip. Jane remarked that Lily was very tired and wouldn't talk much outside of the days on the business trip, and that was consistent from day 1. I asked if she felt like something happened, she said no. I asked if she felt like Jake might have done something, she said absolutely not. When I came back from work, I saw signs Lily was more functional, as she had done some cleaning. I took the chance to ask if she wanted food, she agreed. We ate a meal, and I broached the subject. The missing piece to the puzzle is that Lily has ADHD. This was an important fact, but one I forget as she manages it well. I tend to think of what are symptoms more as cute GF quirks, because a lot of general ADHD behaviors she mitigates, like forgetfulness. What happened on the trip is that to save money, she shared a room with Jane, which she has done on short bursts but never for such long of a trip. As I mentioned, it was a business trip, so although Lily had a lot of fun, she was working both physically and socially for up to 20 hours at a time. She had nowhere to go and reset at the end of this. She had enough emotional gas to come home, but she had some flight delay issues at a very busy airport and by the time she came home, she couldn't make it. She also felt like my asking of her trip in the car was like an interrogation because of her mental state. Her ADHD has never come like this because she manages it well and hasn't been in this environment in a long time. We decided that from now on, she should have her hotel room by herself, or with me, regardless of the cost. I also agreed to not ask any questions when I pick her up from her flight, and she will instead tell me what she wants. If not, I will ask another day. We came up with some other plans so that I know how she is when she comes home. Saturday night we went to an event, she had fun, but crashed immediately at home. It was more on the scale I am used to after a 3-day trip. She has cleared her schedule for the next week to recuperate. Edit, everyone is stuck on Lily's travel expense. I have copied and pasted the comment, for those unable to search on their own. This better explains Lily's job. Think about when you go to a convention, where someone is selling items at a table. These individuals have to often buy their booth and pay for their hotel to travel to the convention. I use the term business trip because for Lily, Jake, and Jane, this is a business trip. They are there on business, not vacation. Additionally, many people are convinced this is an excuse to cover consistent bad behavior. It has never happened before. She was stuck in the most crowded airport in the country for 7 hours longer than she was supposed to be. She hadn't slept for 5 days, and hadn't eaten in a day. This led her to a point where she felt sick, and by the time she came home it is 1:30 a.m. and she is exhausted and hungry. This was an exceptionally bad day for her, which resulted in her behavior. It was not out of malice or entitlement, and it is not how she would act in any other situation. Everyone deserves a little grace now and then, which is something that Redditors do not seem to understand. For those convinced that she is lying, and still must be assaulted or have cheated, and those who rooted for her to be raped, those who are just being rude because it's the internet, or for those who choose to waste their comments pretending to be Lily's doctor, I hope you find a better hobby in your life. I hope you can find the resources to deal with your immaturity. I am done with this account. The problem is solved, and the update is there. If nothing else, I have learned that Reddit is a terrible place to receive any kind of advice. As a fellow editor who travels to see conferences for work, often has to share a hotel room, and has to be on the entire weekend. I fucking knew it lol. It's really overwhelming and throw in a bad travel day and you're just over the top. I'm glad she's okay, just give her some alone time to let her batteries recharge.